this webinar. So without further delay, look, we had the chance over the first three webinars to explore different themes around the reduction of waste, the recycling, reusing, how to use our appliances longer. And tonight we're going to look at what's going on here at the ECO360 site. And I have with me this evening the person responsible for the educational portion, ECO360, Patrice Langis. I'm happy to be here with you this evening. Very happy myself as well. I had an opportunity to do a tour to help me to better understand what goes on with ECO360. It was a great adventure. Yeah, and I think that maybe we can share what we've seen during our visit and what we've learned. Yes.
Patrick, c'est Yves.
Patrick, it's Yves. Look, I threw garbage out a while ago, and I was wondering, what do you do with that? I know you classify the waste. Could you explain that to me? Hi, Yves. Yes, we could show you that, certainly. Would you like to come for a visit later? Yeah, really? Okay, I'll be there in 15 minutes. 15 minutes later. Hey, Patrick. Everything good? Yes. You ready for your visit? Yes. Now we're in the sorting facility. You can see where we have all our blue bags that we are going to treat in our factory. What is that, about a week's worth? Or, well, that is today's waste. One day. Yes. We have 5 to 7 tons an hour and in 2 shifts. And we're going to have the loader here. The loader is going to take the blue bags and is going to put them in the metering bin, where we take all the bags are going to go there, and it's going to go into the factory, and it's going to be there's going to be triage.
Maintenant, on est dans la cabine du pétri. On va prendre les sacs qui sont ouverts, on va les enlever du convoyeur.
Bags, we're going to take them from the conveyor belt, and we're also going to take the things that sadly should not be in these blue bags. Well, why is there so many things that shouldn't be in the blue bags that are found on the conveyor? Well, there's human error, of course, but we ask people to do the best they can when they do the triage at the source, because the more we try, the more we'll be able to recycle as much material as possible. It was really interesting, and I was able to learn a lot of things. Now, when it comes to, we always want to improve ourselves. We always want to better manage, I know at home, our recyclable materials, the blue bag. And sometimes we have to be careful with the food and make sure we clean it out. So what kind of advice could you give us so that we manage it correctly? It's not easy. We at ECO360, when you do triage your garbage, that we want it to not be a headache. It'd be simple, as simple as possible. That's the goal. Because when it comes to do the triage of your waste, I think we stress ourselves a little too much sometimes, but not enough sometimes. But when, I'll give you an example here. It's how clean is clean. This peanut butter is hard to clean. Exactly. And this, can you believe it? This is good. We're fine with that. Definitely. I put that in the blue bag. I took out the majority of the peanut butter. What remains is residue. We put it in the blue bag. Oh, that's all right then. Yeah, another good example. An example is quite common. Is barbecue. You do a barbecue, you burn your chicken on the aluminum paper, and it's all also calcified. That does not rinse off. So what you do is
Petite boule, tu mets ça
je
dans
le
un
replie
sac.
Comme ça, avec la partie qui est comme brûlée en
even with
dedans.
the part that's burned, with it inside. So what that allows is that essentially we all these materials it goes it follows the process. We will go at high temperatures and it's going to burn the organic material and that's going to disappear. Okay, so that reassures me a little bit. We have to clean up to a certain amount, the majority of the food, but you don't have to. I don't have to put my peanut butter container into the dishwasher before putting it in there. Yes. Another thing, and we saw it in the video. There's machines that turn. I don't understand really what it does. Now with our team at ECO360, what we do is we do the triage of all things by hand, but we have a lot of help from machinery. I can show you with the video here. This is a disc screener. This disc screener is what it does is it separates a lot of the material. So in this one here, it separates objects that are bigger from objects that are smaller. The small objects, and in this example here, it's cardboard. It separates all the big pieces of cardboard. And in this one, this helps us to separate objects 3D from 2D. So things that are a certain form, it's going to fall by because of gravity, and the objects are flat, the paper, cardboard, it's going to float on top, and they're going to go into the next compartments that we saw. We'll see that in the next steps. Next steps are what? Once you've had that first separation or triage is done, what happens afterwards? Well, the factory is going to divide into two. It's going to go to different spots, and then we're going to see in different cabins, we're going to do triage different materials. So that helps us a lot during the triage process. So if we go to video, so there I see that here the personnel is throwing different plastics into different chutes. Well, the plastics is something that we have to divide it up in the factory. So we have different types of plastic. And for to differentiate them, there's numbers underneath the container. That allows us to identify them and divide them into different chutes. It's in this cabin that we're going to divide other types of containers and the other types of containers like milk cartons and juice cartons. And then we're going to separate them in this. This is quality control. So what we do here is we make sure to take out things that are not paper, so that afterwards the paper goes into the chute to put into a bale. So, so there is a treatment being done. Now we saw plastic containers, and at a point in time, we discussed that at home because we don't know. I know there's plastic containers or various containers. Some of them go in recycling in the blue bit, and others don't. So we're not in agreement. How do we know what to do? I must say it's very complicated because what happens is us at ECO360, we have to send those materials to different areas because the plastics, as much as we call them all plastics, they have different components, the chemical components, how they do it in laboratory. But essentially, they put them in the set categories, and we can identify them with these numbers we see here. And these are in seven categories. From these seven here, the only one that we cannot recycle is number 6. So that is the only one that we cannot recycle. So those numbers are like different categories of plastic. Yes. So really, the little trick we can find them. We can find them on the bottom of the container, or we can find them on the cover. Uh, uh, Oftentimes, that's where we can identify these plastics with these little triangles, and those numbers will give us an idea. So everything except 6 goes in a recycling bin. Yes. So what number 6 is, where do they go? Well, a good example of a number 6 is oftentimes we see that in food chains. We go to a restaurant, whatever, we see that the covers of coffee cups, straws, single-use plastics, things like that. These are things that are not recyclable in our region. Sadly, it would go in the regular garbage. Okay, that's clear. Now we're talking about plastic and paper a lot.
Parce qu'une fois que
Ben, il y a
c'est
d'autres
trié,
choses
là,
aussi.
oui.
Fait que là,
There are other things as well. So we're talking about plastic containers, but there's not just plastic containers. There's plastic bags, things like that. What do we do with that? Well, that is another good example. I'll show you another example. It functions very well when we have numbers on the bottom, but sometimes there's no number. So here's a good example. Maybe you're going to notice it from this morning. This is a cereal bag. So you look at that, and you go, it's plastic. It should be recyclable. But a good trick to identify all these plastics, I call them supple plastics. They're all malleable. We look at them. This is it's a wrapping, and it's sealed on both sides. You have to just tear it. That is something that's not recyclable. So that would go in the white bag. While the grocery bags, bread bags, all the bags, that is recyclable. So that we can put that, and oftentimes I encourage to put them one inside the other. It really helps in our process, process. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because instead of taking 15 bags, you just pick up one and you put them in the bin for recycling.
Une boîte de céréales, le sac à l'intérieur, ça va dans le clair, c'est des frais, mais la boîte de carton, je la mets dans
the cardboard box, I put them in blue.
OK. Puis, y a-tu d'autres types de contenants là, qui reviennent souvent, peut-être? On n'est pas sûr si ça va aller dans le recyclable ou non.
Un autre bon truc, là, c'est que beaucoup de recyclage, on parle de
recycling, we're talking about one type of material only, which means that it has to be composed of one thing. Another good example that I can show you is things like materials like this.
Bon, sac de chips.
Oui, aussi bonnes qu'ils sont.
Tu t'as sacrifié puis tu l'as vidé.
Oui. Tu remarques ici que
you notice here
genre de
that
papier aluminium,
the inside is kind of an aluminum paper and the outside is plastic. We cannot separate them.
c'est qu'on va envoyer le
So
plastique à une place.
we're going to send the plastic to one place and the metal is
Okay.
another.
Fait que
Where
ça,
do I
c'est un
send
déchet,
it?
c'est pas
C'est ça.
recyclable.
So that's not recyclable. Another thing that you want to see as well is when you have things such as a container like this, where you
La
have
partie en métal.
cardboard, your plastic, you have the metal. It does
Malheureusement,
not,
même si que séparément, il aurait été recyclable, mais à cause de son combiné.
would have been
Okay.
recyclable because they're combined. It is not.
Un petit peu, là,
That is,
je comprends un petit peu mieux.
I understand a little bit more.
Puis j'ai remarqué pour la...
Now you're speaking to me about metals, and I notice I saw that in the videos a while ago, and we spoke about it a
On
bit.
s'en va, puis où
There
est-ce
is a
que
trip.
les contenants de plastique vont aller. Mais dans notre sac de recyclable, dans notre sac bleu, on met aussi des fois des objets métalliques.
Oui.
Mais j'ai pas vu le métal comme du métal qui passait, comme du gars qui fait pas sa job, qui ramasse pas le métal. Là, comme...
non, on a essentiellement d'autres.
We have essentially a machine that we have in the process that helps us to do that. So in the video that I'm showing you here is where you can see we have a conventional method when it's soup cans and things like that. And it's really cool to see.
Un courant, ce que tu peux l'attirer avec un aimant. On a ça qu'on appelle un aimant à courant.
We have an eddy current. What that does is we're going to put a positive charge in the aluminum can, and it's going to be pushed onto another conveyor, as you can see here. So that is where the magic occurs, and then it goes. Then it is stored. Okay, I'm going to come back on something later. We considered the paper that was triaged, but then when you collect a lot of paper, what do you do with that? Yes, because that accumulates quite quickly. I saw during my visit the equipment, and we went to see where that would go, because after a while it is stored somewhere, and we have to take care of it, right? So we're going to go see that in next stop on our visit. Once all the materials are accumulated, we did the
qu'on voit ici, puis là après ça les matériaux ils vont aller à notre presse à balles, jusqu'on va faire les ballots.
to our compactor where we're going to do the bales.
Une fois que les matériaux sont amenés de
Once the
billes,
materials are brought from the bins, it's going to go into our compactor, which is going to create the bales of recycled material. So it's all compacted. Yes.
OK. OK, fait que de là, le papier, c'est
So
ça.
from there, the paper, that's what you do with it. I feel that I know a lot more about the recyclable material, what we put in our blue bags. I understand that better now. But there you gave me some tricks a while ago, some tips. It's fun because I have access to you, and I went to visit. But there are other things involved. I have something really fun now. It's quite modern.
Télécharger une application. Puis essentiellement, l'application, ce que ça fait, c'est que tu peux taper ton adresse. Puis là, après ça, ce que ça fait, c'est que
You
ça te
can
dit
put your address, and after that, what it does is it tells you when to put the bags to the road. Where is our collection for dangerous goods? We have a date for that. And the other part is that you can put in your coffee cup. Where does it go? It's like Google for your garbage, basically. But it doesn't do dishes, though. But the app is called what? It's called ECO360. You can upload it from the App Store or Play Store. It's free. Yeah, it's free. Yeah. So that is something that's really useful. Absolutely. So I better understand the entire question of recyclable material. But we don't have just that as that kind of garbage at home. We have a compostable garbage. What goes in the green bag, mainly food. When you receive green bags, what do you do with that? Well, essentially,
matière organique, on fait du compostage avec ça, mais c'est pas quelque chose de magique, c'est quelque chose qui se passe facilement comme
magic is something that is done easily. You can throw an apple core in the woods, and it's going to become nutrients for the forest. But because we receive that with all from all the residents in southeastern Brunswick, creates a lot. So that organic matter, we have to divide it up and bring it into our composting installation. That's a larger scale, and we'll be able to do something with that. And I think we visited that composting site. We can go see that now.
Nous sommes maintenant dans l'installation de compostage.
Now you're in a composting facility, and here is where we're going to separate the green bags from organic material. So the contents will go in a silo, but we have a process that does that for us. So what we do, the bags are loaded after that in a bin, but then it goes into a bag shredder, and after that we have hooks that are going to separate in the trommel all the contents. The back itself is not recyclable or compostable. So it goes into the back of the truck to go to the landfill site. After that, the content is going to
permet de nous mettre la matière organique toute dans une forme uniforme.
In a more uniform manner. And after that, it goes in the silos, and that's where we're going to control the environment to allow us to have optimal composting materials. So if you want to see, we can go see the silo, see how it works.
Peut-être pas nécessaire d'y aller.
Maybe it's not necessary to go there. Don't need to. I understood. The odor was impressive. You know, I close my eyes and I can remember what it smelled like. It is something, but
on a une idée un petit peu, là, mais
we have an idea now, but really, concretely, how do you treat it? How do you mix those green bags up? I would like to show what we would have seen really if we would have went into the
on peut essentiellement voir que quand est-ce que la matière du sac vert comme tel a été
séparée. Green bags was separated. We're going to take the organic material. It's going to go in these big bins we're going to add water. We're going to put air into that, and the bacteria is really going to like that. And it's going to essentially transform our food into what we call our compost. And we also, with the help of an agitator,
puis aussi, ça va l'avancer de 1 mètre à la fois. Fait que là,
to move that 1 meter outside. It's got to go spend 30, 40 days on it. We'll have optimal temperatures, composting, make sure compost is done correctly. And once it has gone through the inside of the factory, it's going to go outside. You can see here with this is the almost final step. It's going to spend another 6 months outside. The odor, you talked about the odor. Yes.
contrôlé à l'intérieur. C'est ça la beauté. Puis là, après ça, ce qui arrive, c'est que c'est tous ces cocobois-là, ils sont mis à l'extérieur.
This is put outside after we call it a biofilter. It's going to take all the.
Ça va le passer dans ce filtre-là avant d'être relâché à l'extérieur.
OK, oui, parce qu'à l'extérieur de l'édifice, je ne sentais pas ça, là.
Oui, non, c'est ça. Puis là, après que ça a passé son 6 mois dehors, là, après ça, on le repasse dans un autre dernier tamis. Ça va être d'une
outside.
beauté incroyable.
It's an incredible beauty. I'm talking about
Essentiellement,
the ground.
ici, on a donné ça à le vent, excusez-moi, à des fermiers. Ou
that is where we'll sell it to landscapers, and then after that they reutilize. So this way here, it's good for the environment because we transformed garbage into something utilized again. That's essentially recycling. Super. So I have a good idea of what we do with our blue bags, our recyclable material.
Avec nos déchets dans nos sacs verts, le compostable. Mais malheureusement, on génère aussi des déchets qui sont pas recyclables. Nos vrais.
I have garbage that's not recyclable, not compostable, real garbage in our clear bags. And that, you do what with that?
C'est pas comme si on
Whether you like it or not. It's not like we can just.
On va laisser ça faire. Là. Ça va à un endroit. Puis cet endroit ici, on appelait ça la cellule d'enfouissement.
OK.
Là, c'est quoi?
The landfill site.
C'est ça, là. Cellule d'enfouissement, c'est un gros mot pour dire
landfill
ça.
cell is a big word to say a giant bin. It's two.
Puis ça, là, ça va être toute une pellicule en plastique qu'on met. C'est fait de... En tout cas, il y a des ingénieurs qui ont calculé ça. Puis là, après ça, là, on peut mettre les déchets. Mais vraiment...
Il y a une pellicule de plastique pour empêcher que ça vienne contaminer le sol.
Exact.
And they put a plastic liner so it doesn't contaminate the soil. So we want to see that a little bit. Yes.
Tu avais montré ce qu'on était...
Patrick, on est où, là?
Patrick, where are we right now? Right now, we're inside the future landfill cell, and within 2 years, it's going to. That's everything that we see there behind us. When you look at, you have to be very careful because you close your mouth because look at it. The seagulls. Well, we cannot go visit there. Yeah, we're going to go visit it right now. Here right now, you can see the landfill site. This is where the trucks are going to back up and they're going to discharge the garbage. Now it's going to be landfill. Well, there's a process. As you can see, there's a truck. We call it the compactor. They're going to roll over the garbage and optimize it as much as possible to reduce the space between garbage because we put a lot of garbage here. So what we're going to do every evening, once we've compacted all the garbage, we're going to cover it a little bit and we're going to create pockets because what we want to capture, we want to keep the gas within and the liquid as well in these pockets. After that, obviously the garbage is stuff to make sure it doesn't fly out. And after that, we want to protect the environment. That is always the goal because it can create it could create problems for the environment. One is the landfill gas as well. And that'll be captured inside the landfill cell. I thought it well. So it is big. It's huge, but it's so well organized. You know, everything is to protect the environment as much as possible. Have an area where we can place our garbage, but it really gives you a perspective. Anyways, to go there, I understood the quantity of garbage that we generate. It's quite impressive. You spoke a while ago about landfill gases and and what it is essentially is when the garbage starts to break up and decompose in the landfill cells. It's certain that it doesn't decompose like compostable material, but over years and years and years, it decomposes and it creates two substances which could be noxious. we mentioned that we have that
là, mais ça a des noms, ça. OK? Fait que le gaz d'enfouissement, justement, on peut voir dans le vidéo ici que
Yes,
essentiellement.
we see the video here. We have to capture it once it's all been covered. So we'll dig into these dig wells in there. It's perforated. There's holes in, and that is going to take all the gas and bring it to our generator. That gas is rich in methane, so it's very combustible. It's even stronger than CO2. So by burning it, it emits CO2. It's less noxious to the environment. And in addition, it's an asset for us because we're creating a megawatt of electricity. It's enough electricity for about 500 homes per year. So the garbage, while they're decomposing, discharge the gas that you recuperate and that you burn to generate electricity. Exactly. And in addition to that, if we do a math calculation, we operate at net zero. So essentially, we utilize even less energy than we produce. So all the ECO360 operations are self-sufficient, and you create your own electricity. Yeah, that's really interesting. What is interesting as well is that once this gas is captured, we took part in that, but now the garbage juice or civet, you can see that in the video that when the garbage they're open to the environment, but when it rains, the water goes it goes through, and then it creates this noxious fluid. So it has to be treated. So we have a series of ponds that we will go to decontaminate that liquid, and so afterwards it can be released into the environment once it's been cleaned out. So that allows us to protect our environment, everything all around. Because really, I'm going to tell you, it's not just Moncton's garbage here. We have garbage from all of southeastern New Brunswick. It is 1/3 of the garbage in New Brunswick that comes here. So it makes a lot of garbage, and we have to be sure that we protect our environment by doing so. 1/3 of the garbage in the province. Wow. Well, that puts things in perspective a little bit. I want to remind people that are listening that you can utilize the question and answer function or discuss amongst you on the chat feature. Anyways, thank you, because first of all, the visit really helped me to understand what is going on. And I think it's a reality for everybody that comes to visit. It helps us to understand all the efforts that are in place to manage our wastes correctly, to make sure that we compost and recycle as much as we can. And it kind of it helped me to answer my question from the start. I didn't know how to manage my garbage and what to do with my bottles and things like that. Not only do I understand what is going on here now, but I think I understand more why it is important that I do this correctly at home.
C'est pas compliqué, mais il faut que je prenne le temps de le faire comme il faut.
Tu l'as dit, là, justement, là, c'est le temps.
You said it. It's the time it takes, because we take a few seconds to throw it into the right bin or the right bag, because it's as simple as that. And like you can see, it's going to have an impact. Either our team at ECO360 is going to have a impact on the composting process. Maybe it might be in that landfill cell, that huge mountain. But as much as we protect the environment, when we do that, it's like a band-aid solution, because what happens is that we are going to put that create a landfill mountain. But our goal is not to create the biggest mountain we can. The goal is what we can do at home, like you said, to recycle, to compost. And these things here are recuperated, they're recycled. We do something new with it. But it doesn't finish in the landfill site. At a point in time, you have to realize that as a consumer, we are responsible for our garbage, and it's important to manage that garbage. At a point in time, it was a resource. It was a tree. It was petroleum or some other resource that we utilize to create that garbage. Not because the garbage is no longer a resource; it's still a resource. So we have to rethink how we can do our share at home to manage those resources as well, and even think of our consumers' choices as well, in order to generate the least amount of garbage as possible. Yeah, I think that's the best way to manage things at home. Super. Listen, we had a couple of questions that have come in from people watching us this evening. Someone asked us, what percentage of the contents of our blue bag really go to recycling? Where does the rest go? That's a very good question, really, because really we were able to see at the start, we saw that essentially all the material that we see on the line, the conveyor belt, it's not all recyclable. And we cannot blame really the population as such because there are several factors that come into play. There's the fact that maybe the triage guide that we have, maybe it's too lengthy. There's a lot of things to read and understand. And sometimes I look at the plastics. We talk about plastic, which one is recyclable, which one is not. Understand how clean is clean enough and things like that to separate the food. There's a good part that essentially is going to be recycled. Sadly, there's a portion that it wouldn't see a future. So really, the best what we ask our population to do is do the best they can, and on our side, it's going to help us a lot in reaching our quota and to send it where we want to send it to be recycled. And I say we recycle more than half of that material. That is the most we can, but I know there's always ways to improve. Thank you. Another question here. Someone is asking us. We saw a while ago in the video the paper once it goes through the machine, and you do big cubes of paper. These bales or of where do you send them? Good question because I often heard the comment, "Oh, you have a recycling factory." I'm not going to. Yes, we do recycling, but in reality, we do not transform anything at our center because really the material, us, we do a triage into different categories. Once it's triage, like you said, they're putting into bales and then it's sent and shipped out. And so these bales, we send them to domestic markets. What that means is that we're going to try to send it to North American destinations so it doesn't go too far before it becomes your bottle of water or the box of cereal. So we try to keep that as local as possible, and that is always our thing we try to focus on. Well, thank you, Patrick. For me, it helped me a lot to understand. And I think people at home will understand better the role of ECO360 and what goes on here on the site as such.